Hello fellow gamers, my name is Peter, I'm also known as Universal Head. This is the Esoteric Order of Gamers, the channel where we talk about heaps and heaps of different types of games, but very thematic and immersive ones. They're the kind of games I like, and all the games that I show on this channel I play and enjoy myself. That said, today I'm going to talk about just 5 games. These aren't full reviews, they just happen to be games that I'm playing and enjoying at the moment. So I thought I'd make this new kind of irregular series where I just bring you up to date on some of the games that I'm playing. And you might see some things that you'll enjoy as well. So today we're going to talk about Super Fantasy Brawl by Mythic Games, Project Elite by Simon, Dune Imperium by Direwolf Digital, Last Aurora by Pendragon Games and Ares Games, and Western Legends by Colossal Games. So stay tuned, let's have a look at all these fantastic games. Now just before I get started, if you don't know already, the Esoteric Order of Gamers has been going 10 years. 10 years! Unbelievable! If you go over to the website at orderofgamers.com, you'll find over 400 rules, summary and reference sheets that I've personally created for games in my collection. And they're professionally done because I'm a graphic designer. I do that for a living, so I've made them look as professional as possible. They're also incredibly useful because they get all the rules from just, a whole rule book onto about 2 sheets of paper, or both sides of 1 sheet of paper. So you print them out, laminate them, stick them in your box, and you don't have to look at that rule book ever again. While you're there, if you really appreciate my work, make a donation to help the Esoteric Order of Gamers tick along. Also, there's a Patreon page if you want to join up. If you join up there at steward level or above, which is $5 a month or more, you can join the Esoteric Order of Gamers exclusive Discord community, which is really cool. There's a bunch of really nice people talking there and showing photos of their miniatures and sharing tips and tricks and the whole bit. Right, back to the look at these games. Okay, let's get started with Super Fantasy Brawl. Now, I've done a battle report of this game, so you've had a good look at how it works. It's a relatively straightforward battle game in an arena. Now, I've actually got around to painting these figures, so it looks even better. You've got a nice colourful board, and check out these miniatures when they're painted. They look fantastic. They've got a really bold, big, cartoony feel, so it's fun to paint them in big, bright colours. I've also got these 3 columns that came as a Kickstarter extra, and I painted these with a marble effect. It was very easy to do. I gave them a primer undercoat of Wraithbone, and then I basically gave it a controlled wash of Seraphim Sepia, making sure that it just all went carefully into all the nooks and crannies. And then when that was thoroughly dry, I painted little cracks over it with just grey, a light grey and a dark grey, to give it a suggestion of marble. And it came out really effectively. Now, the thing I really like about this game is that you can get it out and play it very quickly. You grab the 3 fighters that you want, they're small decks of cards each, and you're into it. There's a whole lot of extra expansions with extra characters to play, so you can try all the synergies between those decks and all the things that they do. I haven't even got into that yet. I've just been playing with the 6 miniatures that are in the core set and been having a great time. So it's a really good game to fill out an evening's gaming. It doesn't overstay its welcome. It's short, fast and furious, but there's a bit of tactics as well in there, playing your cards at the right time. I really enjoy it. I think it's actually one of the best things Mythic has done. And one of the reasons it's one of the best they've done is that it's simple and straightforward. A lot of the stuff that they've released has been very complex, takes a lot of miniatures and preparation, all the rest of it. Super Fantasy Brawl is exactly what it says on the tin. It's a Super Fantasy Brawl, and it's a lot of fun. Next up, Project Elite by Simon. This came out a few years ago. It was a Kickstarter campaign as well. I didn't back the Kickstarter campaign, I just bought this core set, and really I can't imagine wanting more than you get in this core set. I'm sure there are a lot of extra miniatures and things in the Kickstarter campaign, but this is plenty for me, and I really enjoy what this game offers just in the core set. Now, in this game, you're basically a team of super soldiers fighting off an alien invasion. And you get a heap of miniatures in the game of the aliens who are swarming towards you. It's a real-time game. So the aliens have a pre-programmed thing they do on their turn. But when the players cooperating have their turn, it's real time. You've got 2 minutes to do as much running around, killing aliens and fulfilling objectives as you can. And it's incredibly stressful. I really enjoyed this game. It's a lot of fun, but man, it's stressful because when you get to that 2 minutes, you are desperately rolling dice one after the other and grabbing them and rolling more and trying to remember what you need to hit and trying to run for the objectives and locking off dice in to get objectives and then using the rest of the dice to continue fighting. It's full on and it all happens in like 2 minutes. And then you stop, you get a breather, and the aliens move inexorably forward. Of course, they move forward when you're doing your turn as well, because if you roll the little red icon on the dice, you have to move one of the aliens forward as well. The other terrible thing about the aliens is as they move forward, they push each other forward. So they can come forward in huge waves, and then you can have your go and kill lots of them and think you've done really well, and then suddenly there's a huge spawn and another pack of them come on as well. It's relentless, absolutely relentless. As I said, while you're trying to do this, you're trying to achieve objectives, and that usually means rolling symbols on the dice and placing them on the objective tile and locking off that dice so you can't use that dice in the rest of your real-time turn. It's fantastic fun. It's got a big double-sided board, so you've got 2 different boards. The miniatures are just gorgeous, really, really high quality. And actually, there seems lots and lots of them, but you can paint them quite quickly with contrast paints. I painted these up in no time at all using a mixture of flesh and red on most of them, but you can use any colour you want, of course. A lot of fun, and we get this one out quite a lot, but it still stresses me out every time. Next up, Western Legends, and this one's come out a lot lately, and the good thing about this one is that not only is it a huge fun sandbox game set in the Wild West, it's got lots of expansions, and this is the kind of game that benefits from as many expansions as you can get your hands on. I recommend buying them all. There's another one called Blood Money has just come out, which I haven't got, but I think I've got most of the others. Now, in Western Legends, as I say, it's a big sandbox, so there are so many choices. You can do all kinds of things that you think you could do in a Wild West type of game. So you could rob the bank, you could go mining, you can legally take cattle down to the railroad, or you can rustle them to another ranch. You can rob other players, you can hold up the train in one of the expansions. There's heaps and heaps of stuff you can do, and every time you set up this game there's this feeling of like, oh wow, what am I going to do this time? Am I going to be a good guy? Am I going to be a bad guy? What am I going to do? Now normally you'd think, okay, that's just a whole lot of, you know, uninteresting stuff. You try and get fame points to win and be the most famous person in the Wild West. But the thing that really sets this game apart is that you've got marshal points and wanted points. So if you're a good guy, obviously you're getting marshal points. If you're a bad guy, you're getting wanted points. Now the way these points work makes the game really interesting, because if you're wanted, you actually get extra fame points at the end of every turn. However, if you get captured, you're going to go back down to 0 wanted points again, so you've got to build your way up. Marshal points are different in that you're trying to maintain your marshal points all the way through the game, because the higher you get on your marshal points level, the more points you'll get in one heap at the end of the game. So the way these 2 points work together is really, really fun, because if you're a wanted player, anyone else who is a marshal player is trying to capture you and thus lower your points. And if you're a marshal player, you're trying to do the right thing and capture the wanted players. And that ensures that there's player versus player interaction in this otherwise very go off and do your own thing type game. Really everything you can think of that you'd want in a Wild West game is in this game. And of course, really fun stories come out of it. Now, as I said, the more the merrier in this game, so grab as many expansions as you can. You can really pack out the options of what you can do. There's an extra board in the Anti-Up expansion. There's also a train that travels around, which, as I said, you can hold up. It's just so much to do. I really enjoy it. Every time we get out this game, we have a laugh. And I just think it's a winner, and I just hope they keep bringing out expansions for it, because you could just keep adding this until the cows come home, literally. Next up, Dune Imperium. Now, some of you may be thinking, oh, what, there's no miniatures in Dune Imperium? It's a bit of a Euro game. Yes, don't worry, I do play these types of games as well, and this one I really enjoy. In fact, I was a little bit underwhelmed by it the first time I played it. I thought it was okay, but the more I played it, the more I've come to really, really enjoy it. There's a new expansion on the way for this one as well. There's already one expansion out called Rise of Ix. There's another one coming which is about the Tleilaxu race or organisation or whatever. If you know your Dune lore, you'll know what that is. And it's a lovely combination of deck building and area control. That really sums it up. That's just the two. So you've got a deck and you play the cards to allow you to place your agents on various spaces on the board. Then at the end of your turn, you can add up the cards that you've got left over. They've got persuasion points on them. You add these points up and you use that as currency to buy more cards. So you can fine-tune your deck depending on your particular strategy. And then there are lots and lots of possibilities for areas on the board that you can control that let you do things. This ranges from getting influence with the various houses to engaging in combat, deploying your troops to combat to win victory point cards. There's so many possibilities, and again, this is a game that does really well with its expansion because it expands all the options and the strategies that are available. As I said, the more I've played this game, the more I've enjoyed it. I think it really rewards multiple plays, and definitely worth getting. I think it's become a bit of a classic very, very quickly. Looking forward to yet another expansion from Direwolf Digital, and they've really got a winner with Dune Imperium, a really good game. Finally, on this whistle-stop tour of games that I've been playing lately is Last Aurora. Now, I was on holiday recently and I couldn't sleep, and at 2 o'clock in the morning, I was looking on Board Game Geek, and it had one of those, people who bought this game kind of things, and I saw this one, Last Aurora. I vaguely remember seeing this when it ran on Kickstarter. I wish I'd grabbed it then, actually, because it came with a few extra plastic goodies and bits and bobs. This one doesn't have those, but it's still a great game. You don't need all those extras. There is one expansion called Project Athena, which I've already grabbed from eBay, and there's another one coming out called Frozen Steel. And again, this is a kind of game that really does well with expansions. The more content, the better, I think, in this one. Basically, what you're doing, it's a post-apocalyptic world, a radioactive ice desert, and you've got a convoy which is going across this land, trying to make it to the Aurora, which is a big ship sailing off to salvation. So it's a mixture of Mad Max and snow, basically. The theme is really, really strong. The illustrations are great, and there are some very fun mechanics here in that you're building your convoy with cards. So you start off with a truck and a container, and you can add extra containers and build devices on tops of the trucks and the containers. So you end up with these amazing looking combinations of containers, trucks, and devices. You can put tank guns on the top of things. It looks amazing. And you trundle this convoy across the board from left to right. It is a race game, so you're trying to get across. As you play, there's a series of exploration cards that come out at the bottom of the board, and you use your survivors to buy those exploration cards and either add them to your convoy or use their abilities or whatever. And so while you're trying to do all this, you're obviously racing each other to get across to the other side of the board and trigger the end of the game, but have the most points to win when you do so. This is a lot of fun. I've only played it once so far. I just got it the other day, but I'm definitely going to be playing it more. And as I said, I got online and got the first expansion straight away because it was really fun, really thematic, very clever. When we were playing, one of us was a lot further ahead than the other player, but the other one had no problems catching up by doing some tricky things. You can get fuel and food resources, and you can get special things to add to your convoy and to your survivors. There's heaps of variety in here. I was really impressed with it and very pleased that my 2 a.m. purchase happened to be a good one and I didn't end up with a dud. So I highly recommend Last Aurora as well. Well, there you go, my friends. 5 games that I reckon are fantastic. I'm going to be playing all these for a while, and they're definitely staying in my collection because they're a lot of fun. Now, I'm going to just do this occasionally as games come and go and my attention out of my collection. And also, of course, there'll be new games as well, but they'll usually get their own videos and more detailed coverage. This is just, a bit of inspiration. And you may say, oh, I've never heard of that game before. I think I'll grab it. It sounds good. Hope you've enjoyed this. Please subscribe if you haven't already. You just hit that subscribe button. There's an all notifications bell, and if you hit that, you'll be sure to get notifications every time I do a new video. And of course, as I said before, please visit the website. Thanks very much for watching. See you next time. Good gaming, everybody. Bye.